Hello, welcome to another special Sudoku solve video. Today I am doing a puzzle that is made by GDC. I tend to like his or their puzzles very much. It's supposed to be an easy-ish puzzle, like they say, with the shenanigans rule, which apparently is by Dyer, who also says great puzzles, but I've never heard of it before, so I'm curious. So it is a 6x6, so I hope, or I plan this to be a bit of a shorter video, but that's okay. By GDC, normal 6x6 rules apply shenanigans. One of the digits, 1 to 6, to be deduced is the shenanigans digit. Cages. Digits in a cage sum to the total in the top left if, and only if, they do not contain the shenanigans digits. Digits may repeat in a cage. Okay. So the only place digits could repeat is here because it's the only 3-cell cage. Now, okay, so I can immediately see these 10s and these 4s. Which, okay, 4 is always 1, 3. So the other 4 is impossible. So the shenanigans digits isn't one of those, so not in those. Right, so the shenanigans digit isn't one of those. And the other one is 1, 3. Now, these these standing cages have the same thing. I was gonna say you can make things in more ways, but it's only 6-4 and it's 6x6. So they have the same issue, so those are green. And one of those is 4-6 and the other contains a shenanigans digit. So we do know that the shenanigans digit isn't 1, 3, 4, or 6. But not 1, 3, so it's 2 or 5. Well, just so I remember, let's label that red. 2 or 5 at this point, which maybe that's interesting for this cell. Right, either it's 5 and then 2 is the shenanigans digit and the total is right, or it is the shenanigans digit. And it's 2. So this is, wait, maybe that's a better place. That's 2 or 5. It's 2 if it's a shenanigans digit. If, doesn't that mean that 2 is always the shenanigans digit? Right. Yeah, okay. If, no, is that true? If that is 5, right? And 5 is the shenanigans digit, then is the rule true? Because I know GDC is very particular with his wording. Digits in a cage sum to the total in the top left if and only if they don't contain any shenanigans digit. Right, so if the 5 is a shenanigans digit, this is not a 5 and then it breaks. So the shenanigans digit is a 2. Shenanigans digit is a 2, but I still don't know if this is that or not. Right. If it is, and this is 1, right, this is 2, 4, 1, 5. If that is 5, then this is 2, 4, so then it does contain the shenanigans digit. If this is 2, and this is 1, 5, it doesn't necessarily contain the shenanigans digit. Okay. Right. Maybe then the question is, could both of those be green? Maybe? Right, because if this is the case, right, they cannot be 2, 4 because that 2 is the shenanigans digit, so they're 1, 5, 1, 5, and then that's a 2. But then you cannot place 1, 3 in here, so that is untrue. One of those does contain a shenanigans digit. So that means that that cannot be 1. Right. Okay. So if this would be the shenanigans digit, this would contain a shenanigans digit, and neither neither 6 could contain a shenanigans digit, but we found out that 1 has to. Right, because like I said, if they both don't... I'm also saying this to convince myself. If they both don't, it's this, and that doesn't work. So 1 must contain a shenanigans digit. And it cannot be both, because then you cannot place it in here. Okay. I think that makes sense. I think then this is a 5, and that 2 is the shenanigans digit. So it's still one of those and one of those. So it cannot be both. So the good one is 1, 5, and that must be this one. Right, not both can contain a shenanigans digit, so one of them must be fully good. And that must be this one, because the good cage is 1, 5. Right, I've convinced myself of that. And 1, then this is 1, 3, and then this contains a shenanigans digit. Then the other digit doesn't really matter. It could be anything, except another 2, because it cannot sum. But that doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Then this does contain a shenanigans digit, and it must be there. Make it red. One of those is a 2 with a shenanigans digit. I'm going to label that like that. And this like this. I think that's more clear. So this just cannot be a 4. That's basically what that means. That must be green. Well, all of that must be green. But I don't know how much that matters. So what now? One of those are 5. Something interesting, right? I don't know. Where does 5 go in this box? Because it doesn't go in those because of this one. But can it be there, right? So what does that has to be? Either it's green, meaning it would have to be a 2. That doesn't work. But if it's red, it still must be a 2, and the total will be correct. So 5 is in one of those. And the same goes for this. This. One of those is 5. Interesting. So normal question, where does 5 go in this column? It goes there. So one of those is a 5. Right. And could it be that one? If that's a 5, that must be a 3. That is impossible. But that's not true. So that is a 5. So that is a 5, and that's not a 5. That means that this is either a 2 or a 3. What now? Well, those are 1. Sure. One of those is 4, 6. And then the other will be 2, 5. So what is this then? 4, 6, 2, 5, so 1, 3. So this is... Oh, well, okay, 1, 3, so that's a 2. We know that that's a red digit. So this is either 4 or 6, and it is green, for sure. All of this is green. And in this column, I'm missing 4 or 6. Okay. Where does this digit go in this box? It must be there. And it's not red. So that's a 2. That felt like a good deduction. Though I'm unsure. I thought the difficulty was 2 stars, and I'm 8 minutes in, and I've done this. I'm pretty proud of that. That's cool. 3 in this box is there. This is another 4 or 6. So one of those is 1, 3 as well. That's another 4 or 6. And that is... Oh, okay, so that's not 4, that is 6. That is 4, 6, 4, 6, and 4. So that's a 3, a 1, a 3, and a 1. Then this is 4, 5, and 2, 6. One of those is red. What am I missing in this column? It's 6. Now I'm missing 2 and 4 here. So one of those is 6. Oh, that does... Right. Right. I'm noticing something, I think. If one of those is 4, 6, okay, that goes there, right? But one of those is 2, 5. Where does 2, 5 go? It planted like that. So that means that the final one is 1, 3. So there is striping going on. So that means that 4 must be up top here. So 4 is in this cage. This is a 2, 3 pair. So if 4 is in this cage, right? Let's assume that's green. Ah, okay, I think that's the point. This cannot be green. Okay, if that's green, then we have 4 with 5 added to it. So that would be a 2, 3 pair. But that would always contain a 2. So that doesn't work. Right, okay, so that must be red, and that must be a 2. So that must be a 2, 5, 4, and 6. Let's fix the coloring because I hate it when I leave the coloring unfinished. Oh, that's okay. I can do that. 2, 4, no white, no red. Yep. Okay. So that must be a 3. Oh, I can place the 4 and the 6, of course, because I have the striping done. 5, 1. That is 1, 3, right? Ah, if that's 3, then this is correct. So that's a 1. Ooh, wouldn't that have been... No, okay, no. That would have always had to contain a 2, okay. Oh, that's the point. I was thinking, oh, I might have missed that as a logical option, but I didn't. So that's nice. 11 minutes, okay. Well, very, very cool puzzle. A little easy, but I think that's fine. I liked it. I liked the concept a lot. The use of the shenanigans digit was heavily utilized. Like, this is, I think, a good show of its potential. I've never seen it before, even though it's been used before, but it's cool. So thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.